Hey guys, thanks for clicking on yet another video. This one is the National Enduro. It is the last round, round 10. It's the Gobbler Getter down in Plantersville, Alabama at the Perry Mountain Motorcycle Club. I somehow guilted Shane and Sammy into joining me into the trip for Alabama, so after work we headed to their house, packed everything up. That way we can just leave in the morning super early, not have to worry about leaving Friday, finding somewhere to camp and stay. That way we just show up Saturday night, sleep there, race the next day. Good thing Shane can ride the heck out of a dirt bike, because I'm not really sure I want him cutting my asparagus next time. We had a good hearty Champions meal with the asparagus, mac and cheese, and some chicken parmesan, which Shane knocked out of the park. That stuff was pretty good. We ended the night with some brownies and some ice cream. I'm sure that really would help for the weekend. We got up about 5:30 and we ended up leaving about 6:15. Shane drove most of the way all day. We had to stop for some Chick-fil-A breakfast because we were not going to get any on Sunday. That is the only bad thing about Chick-fil-A. That is God's chicken, baby. I forgot all of my energy gels and energy chews at home, of course, so we had to find a running store to stop at. They usually carry all the electrolytes and hydration stuff that you need. I decided to stop in Memphis, which, against better judgment, I still decided was the correct decision. I knew this was going to be a pretty dry, dusty race, and from watching videos from previous races, I figured it was going to be pretty rough, so I needed a bunch of carbs and energy for the day. I'm so glad I stopped and got that stuff. I've really been experimenting lately with the energy gels and energy chews and found that it helps me so much. I really get race nervous still in the mornings and I can't really find myself with an appetite. So I usually skip breakfast, which I regret so much later in the racing. Also, to be fair, this dude pulled a sick wheelie like a mile in front of us. Don't know what happened. He must have got stage fright when he was by us. We ended up getting to the track about 5:30, which ended up perfect. Gave us plenty of time to set up, go sign up, and just chill out. Our South Central Area Riders Club group got to park next to each other again. It's so rad that we all just get to go to the same races together and hang out and support each other. We got all signed up, set up, and everything. We actually had an awards banquet at 7 that we had to go to. The way NEPG does it is they will do the awards banquet at the very last round, even before the competition's finished. So a lot of the placings aren't set in stone. Some of them are, regardless of the placing that rider will get the next day. But they go ahead and give you a reward, and then they will mail you your actual placing after all the results and the points are tallied up. Most all of the women's amateur placings were unofficial and to be determined after the last round was finished. We had quite a few riders here from Oklahoma qualify for year-end awards, such as Cash Hannock, who ended up second in the 65 class, and Cooper Harrison, who won his Super Mini class. Connor got 6th in B Open, and Wyatt tied for 2nd in Enduro Futures. I ended up 1st in my class, so I get to take home an AMA national plate, which I am super, super excited about. I also want to take a moment to thank all of those who've sponsored me this year and just helped me out with all kinds of things, whether it be parts, entry fees, gas money, and even just being there for me. I really, truly appreciate it. And special thanks to Howard's Precision Manufacturing, Wilson Power Sports, especially Hayden, Lane, and Parker for all they do, Brady Metter with TBT Suspension, who always does an excellent job, Wayne Daves with American Welding Supply in Cushing, Keith Cooper with Coop's Fast Lube, also in Cushing, thanks to Dr. Lisa Taylor and Michael Couch, Eli Church with EC Moto, Janet Church, Jerry Patterson, and Bob and Nadine Lozier. And last, and certainly least, just kidding, Cole Williams. I also want to give a huge shout out to Lil Jim's Miniature Silky Fainting Goats, which is also my mom. She means the world to me, and she supports me in everything I do, and I cannot thank her enough. Sammy did an excellent job today. She was my pit crew, my mechanic, and my videographer. This was the start of test 1, which is always underneath the big red arch. This first test was only 4 miles long. I ended up first in my class. Even being on row 30, the trails were pretty rough. I'm pretty sure it was because that this place is typically ridden on year-round, so it doesn't really get to see a break between national enduros. Here I am about to go and start test 2.
Honey stinger, baby. Talk to her.
Sammy and I think so alike sometimes. It's kind of freaky. I think this was the worst test of the day. This was only 6.5 miles long, but this crash right here was less than a minute into the test. This place was pretty deceiving when it came to bar clearance. I can't tell you how many times this race I hit my handlebars on some trees thinking that I was totally going to clear it. I also started the day off with some pretty weird little tip overs, just with some tight turns like that between some trees that I just couldn't really get around easy. Also, right here, you can see I hit another tree with my handguard. I really struggled at the beginning of the day, but as the day went on, I got a little bit more aware of my surroundings. This was some super tight stuff. Super easy to lose your momentum if you're not careful. I don't typically get arm pump with my weak little noodle arms, but this test really did it to me. After I pulled off a test 2, I could feel something weird in my handlebars. My handlebar clamps actually came loose, so when I stopped to pit, Sammy got right into mechanic mode to get me ready for test 3. Bear was also on my row, so Bo helped with rider support for me as well, which was super awesome. This was test 3, which was probably my favorite of the day. It was just super fast and flowy, had a bunch of high-speed stuff, not very much tight stuff. And that sand was pretty deep in some spots. If you weren't careful, your front tire was either going to tuck or push out of some of those corners. This test was really rough though. It had a lot of sand whoops, and this is about when my body started to cramp up. I've never had an issue with cramps. I have friends that have, but I usually do pretty good drinking electrolytes and stuff like that, but I think the last couple weeks have been pretty stressful, and my mind has been elsewhere on some stuff like some big financial decisions and work and whatnot, and I just really failed in preparing my body and myself for this, and I definitely felt the consequences. This is test 4, and you can see I'm already going a bit slower. This isn't really any tight stuff, and I'm really lacking in speed, but I start to take it a little bit easy so I get some energy back, and then I push a little bit harder, and then I reel it back, and just kind of try to modulate my riding so I don't completely smoke myself, because I still have one more test to go. Like this, for example, I am just too exhausted to avoid hitting this tree. It was ridiculous. But I'd still manage to find some energy here and there, and I make it happen. I ended up second in this test.
Buy her new boots. She needs new boots. Buy her new boots.
I don't have any footage for test 5, but I really kicked it up a notch, and I ended up placing first in that test. It was a pretty fast test, but it was hard-packed instead of super silty and sandy. It's a lot closer to like what we have here at home. Here, I'm talking to Madison, one of the girls in my class. At the last race, I literally beat her by less than a second. That is how close our racing is. I really love that our class is so competitive. I truly think that it makes us all a lot better riders. After the race was over, we packed up and headed home. We drove through straight 10 hours. We ended up getting home around 2:30 in the morning. It was a pretty rough drive, but I'm just glad we didn't have to skip work on Monday. I am just so thankful for all the opportunities I get and the friends that I get to share these memories with. I thank God every day for giving me the ability to ride dirt bikes and the means to do it as well. And don't worry, just because the season's over doesn't mean the videos are. I'll see you next time. Bye!